from Tom Benson Stadium in Canton, Ohio, USA. Welcome to Day 3 of the 2015 IFAF World Championship Football Tournament. 7 teams from 7 different countries battling for gold medals and the championship trophy. Hi again, everybody. Jeff Shreve along with Tom Linder. Glad you could join us here from Ohio. It is Day 3, and it is a much-anticipated battle. 2 undefeated teams, the United States and France, both, Tom, coming off of pretty big wins.
Both of these teams feature high-powered offenses. They're outscoring their opponents 84-6 for France, while the American team is coming in. They're outscoring their opponents 73-21.
Let's take a look at the highlights from these 2 wins. First, for France.
You're going to be hearing this young man's name a lot. That is, if the United States kicks to him, it wouldn't be a good idea. Anthony Deblis here on a 90-yard return. He already has 2 touchdown returns on kickoffs, 1 over 100 yards. But they can also get the job done on the ground. They've got a running threat in Stephen Yetmo, who's got a touchdown in this contest. On the American side, you're going to hear this guy's name a lot. They can get it done on the ground as well. Sadale Foster running for a touchdown in one of the United States wins. But then when you turn to quarterback, they can get it done through the air or on the ground. As Dylan Favre shows us, he's one of 2 quarterbacks for the USA that can run and throw the football.
Let's take a look at our 2 key players to watch, brought to you by Rydell.
Well, we've already seen a look at both of these guys. Anthony Deblis, 6'4", 209. He's got NFL-type size, speed, and strength. He's got 2 returns for touchdowns. Look for him out of the wide receiver slot as well. For the United States player you want to keep your eye on out of Texas Tech, Sadale Foster. He's got 3 touchdowns on 18 carries, 96 yards. For the USA to advance to the gold medal round, got to have a big game out of Sadale Foster.
France won the toss. They elect to receive, and we'll get our first chance, Tom Linder, to see if they will indeed kick it to Anthony Deblis.
I'm thinking it's not a good idea. The young man has already, in 2 contests, had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Let's see the strategy here in the early going for the USA.
Ed Runke, the kicker, blast one deep into the end zone and out of the end zone for a touchback. They'll take it out to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for France.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Patrick Azuma is the head coach of the France team. And for the United States, Dan Hawkins should be a familiar name to college football fans. It'll be 1st and 10 right on the 20-yard line. 2 high-powered offenses, Tom. I'll be anxious to see how the defenses react early on in the game.
Immediately spread offense. Empty backfield.
Paul Duran, number 12, is the quarterback. No drop. He'll flip it over the middle. That one's complete to Bertelin. And Remy Bertelin brought down at the 31-yard line. Let's check the starting lineups, brought to you by Siege Sports.
Take a look, and you heard the quarterback. You know, anytime you've got a high-powered run-and-shoot throwing offense, you got to look at the quarterback, but you also have to look at an outstanding receiving core and offensive line that'll give you time to throw the football.
First and 10, 31-yard line. Duran changing the play. 5 receiver package right out of the gate for France. USA showing blitz. Duran will throw to wide open, and he missed him near midfield. He had a man. There wasn't anybody within 15 yards of that receiver.
Yeah, a little crossing pattern. We'll take a look at that, but first let's look at the United States defense. It's a good one, anchored by 4 linebackers out of that 3-4. They're going to have to be very active, and the key for defensively the United States is those linebackers have to play well, not only against the run, but in coverage. A lot of pressure on those defensive backs to get the job done today.
2nd down 10, 31-yard line. Paul Duran. A lot of shifting going on. Another quick hitter over the middle, tipped and almost intercepted. That went right through the hands of a linebacker.
And he almost he threw it behind the intended receiver, Anthony Kuvan. Fortunately, that wasn't picked up.
On against Australia, 1 touchdown, 73 yards. He only put it in the air 10 times. He's done that 3 times already here in the opening period.
See, they don't feel they can run the ball effectively, at least not here in the early going. They haven't had a running back in the backfield on either one of these first 3 plays.
And before the 3rd and 10 snap.
Take the down count.
There's an official's timeout, and the meeting is brief.
Next guy is Sada.
Nana Hiroyasu is our referee. 3rd and 10. United States looks like they may be coming after this one.
Yeah, that looks like they're going to send some pressure, or are they going to back off? Now, right before the snap, looks like they're going to change it and back off.
Drawn. He'll throw, connects at the 35-yard line. He'll be well shy of the first down.
Jeff, I think in that little bit of a chess match, I think that was won by defensive coordinator for the United States, because he walked those guys up onto the line, and they thought they were going to be able to throw behind them. Then they backed off before the snap, and they ended up running the pass pattern underneath the linebackers. They make the stop on a short pass and a catch.
Alexander C. will do the punting for France. United States will set up the return, and this will be Brian Douglas. He's got room to run, can't quite get to the sideline. Nice open field tackle by Sejan. That will bring out the offense for the United States of America.
Led by Kevin Burke. He's a Gagliardi Award winner, which means the best player in Division III out of nearby Mount Union. And you can take a look at the running backs. Good core there. Smithy's command to watch at the wide receiver, and a very strong and very efficient offensive line.
Burke, a thrower and a runner. This is Foster. Nice cutback, gets him to the first down marker. They'll stop the clock. A gain of 11 yards on first down.
Nice wrinkle by head coach Dan Hawkins in the United States. They put Sadale Foster instead of the backfield. They're putting him in the slot, and they just run the quick pitch, and they pick up big yardage.
Native Burke will hand off again to Foster. Looks like the same play in the different direction. Not quite the same result. He is driven out of bounds near the 33-yard line.
Let's take a look at the defense for France out of the 4-3. Active core of linebackers, and the defensive backs will be pressured today because they're going to have to come up and play the run a little bit, probably more often than what they might be used to.
2nd down 2 for the U.S. Burke, little confusion. Burke will keep it, try to work his way over the 30. He'll be very close to a first down. Tried to connect with Aaron Wimberly, the running back out of Iowa State in the backfield, but
well, it's a luxury, Jeff, when you got a quarterback that can turn a broken play into a first down, and that's exactly what Kevin Burke can do. Here's his numbers against Japan in that 43-18 win, 8 of 16. The 2 interceptions, he's had 2 in each of his games. He's going to have to cut those down.
Now Wimberly gets the call, runs into the linebacking core for France. He'll crack the 30-yard line, down to the 27.
You can see immediately the idea offensively of what the USA squad wants to do, trying to establish the run. We've seen it from different directions. We've seen it from the wide out on the jet sweep. Now we're seeing them run between the tackles.
2nd down 7. Burke's first pass connects. Kyle Kaiser works his way over the 20. Still on his feet. They'll give him forward progress to near the 17 and another U.S. first down.
Nice job, Kaiser out of Nebraska. Kearney out of Broomfield, Colorado makes a nice adjustment on this ball. Then allows his blocks to set up for him as he cuts back against the grain and picks up more blocks for good yardage.
17-yard line. Back to the ground game. This is Wimberly inside the 5 and into the end zone for a touchdown for the United States.
An impressive drive by the U.S. to start this game. Winner advancing to the gold medal round. Power football. They've shown you a little bit of everything, and now they're just going to go power football. They lead through the hole, and look at how far down the field. 8 yards before he's even touched by a defender. Great job on the lead block by the fullback, Nick Griffin, and taking it into the end zone out of Iowa State is Aaron Wimberly.
The try for the two-point conversion fails, and with 8:49 to play in the opening quarter, it remains 6-0 U.S. One more look at that touchdown, Tom.
Let's take a look at the lead block. Boy, this is coming right into your living room. Look at the lead block. He's searching. Nick Griffin is 7 yards down the field searching for somebody to hit, and Aaron Wembley, that's a stroll in the park for the touchdown. This is the two-point conversion. They try to set up the quick screen to the outside, but it was read nicely, scouted out, and then executed very nicely by France to annul the two-point conversion attempt.
First ever meeting between France and the United States in the IFAF World Championship. Both teams come in at 2-0. The winner will play in Saturday's gold medal championship game. They'll take on Japan, who took care of Mexico earlier today, 35-7. The loser of this game will play Mexico in the bronze medal game.
Mexico struggled a little bit. Impressive drive by the United States, again set up by stuffing them, and then a nice punt return. And only a 6-play drive covering 52 yards. Only took a minute 38 to find pay dirt against France.
Run key into the end zone. They will return the ball. And we've got a little extra after the play. The United States coaching staff put a stop to that right away.
Well, that's one thing you'll see about these guys, the international aspect of it. There's a lot of respect between the countries because of the things that are done before the games, the exchange of gifts and things before the games. And they've spent time in the Olympic Village, if you will, that Walsh University, nearby university here, is hosting. So there's a lot of goodwill, but once the game starts, they're getting a little chippy.
A little bit. Totally different formation for France. They'll go to the ground game. First carry for Yepmo doesn't yield the results they were hoping for.
On this defense, against the run, they've been tough. Yepmo has been successful. Look at that, 13 carries, 110 yards, and a couple of touchdowns in their big win over Australia. And that came back in game number 2 where they won 53-3. He was a big part of that win.
Alderon is under center. Yepmo is the setback. And now confusion and a timeout called by France.
Team timeout.
Might not have 11 guys out there.
First timeout in the half.
So a quick timeout, 8:05 left to play here in the opening period. The second possession for France.
Yeah, Paul Duran at quarterback came up. They wanted to go under center as we get a look at the coaching staff over on the far sideline for France. And he looked around, he didn't like what he saw, or wasn't sure he had quite enough people in the right position, either or. So he took a timeout. They'll discuss things and come back. An important series after giving up the touchdown to the United States on half a field. France wants to come back, Jeff, and they'd really like to at least pick up some first downs and move the chains a bit, and get a little offense. And a guy that can give you instant offense is right there in the middle of your screen, Anthony DeBlee. Look at the all-purpose yards against Australia.
You saw the touchdown.
Yeah, that was a big chunk of it. 90 of it came on that kickoff return for a touchdown. He also owns a 102-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
So second down, 11 from the 17-yard line. Duran now will operate from a shotgun. That's a quick hitter that's a little too tall for Bertolin. It was open. Interesting, though, Duran doesn't drop. Catches that snap, and away it goes.
And steps right into it. Just a quick hitter. They're trying to get it underneath, get one step on that defender, and then try to break a tackle in the secondary. But to do that, you really have to hit that wide receiver in stride. You can't allow him to have to slow up. You can't have him reaching back because it just throws the timing out, and it doesn't allow him to try to beat a defender on the fly.
You also have to find your way through that offensive line with those quick passes. 3rd down, 11. Ron makes the handoff. The pass at the 20-yard line is incomplete. Again, trying to hook up with Bertelin, and one of the linebackers right there.
David Guthrie. Boy, watch him jump this route. David Guthrie. He's not very big at 5'10", 205, but watch him jump this route. He's there when the ball arrives, does a nice job not going through the player too soon. He's out of New Mexico, originally out of Oregon as a player, and nice play by Guthrie to break that pass up.
C is standing at the 4-yard line to punt it away on 4th and 11. And it's blocked. Ball rolling inside the 5, scooped up and into the end zone for a touchdown.
This is going to be a great job on special teams, and a lot of times in these types of games, when you have the 45-man roster, you got to count on everybody on your team to contribute in some way. And here's special teams coming up big. There's
Robert
the loose
Virgil
ball.
had the block, and B.J. Beatty finished it off for the score.
Beatty out of Colorado. He's a native of Hawaii. Played his football in Colorado, making his presence felt on special teams.
Interesting formation here. Kevin Burke, the quarterback, will roll and look for a 2-point conversion. That's way too tall for the intended receiver, Luke Meacham, a teammate of his at Mount Union.
That's right. They combined for a lot of highlights in their career at Mount Union. It's just a stone's throw down the road from here.
It's about 30 minutes east of where we're at right now. It is Division III, which makes it a smaller school. And I think you mentioned he is a 2-time winner of the Gallardi Trophy, which is sort of the Heisman Trophy. This is really the Division III version of that.
Correct. And, he's been impressive. I've unfortunately had the opportunity to watch Kevin Burke firsthand as he played in the same conference, Ohio Athletic Conference, here in the state of Ohio, that my son played on. So I got a chance to see him break the hearts of many teams in the Ohio Athletic Conference and en route to those championship bids for Mount Union.
As long as we're talking about Burke, he had a great career in the Cleveland area in high school and actually played here in the state playoffs against Braxton Miller, who is the quarterback for Ohio State University.
And he was quarterbacking for a school in Cleveland called Lakewood St. Edwards, perennial power in several different sports, but they were down here for the state championship. He got the best of Braxton Miller in that game. He did indeed. As St. Edwards were crowned state champions.
Runke to put it back in play. This one a little bit higher. It will land at the 5-yard line. Anthony Couvan returns to the 20. So 3 kickoffs for the U.S. and still DeBlee has not had his hands on the ball.
Well, at some point you almost have to say a ball that's go get it. You need to step in front of the other guy. You got it. You're the guy. You are the guy. Go get that football. Don't stand next to your teammate there. You're the guy. We want the ball in your hands.
So France goes back to work. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. They were 3 and out moments ago. The punt was blocked and returned for a score by the United States. Here's a run up the middle and some activity. We may have a loose ball.
The United States maybe digging away at that football underneath. Good luck running against this defense of the United States. Mexico found it almost impossible. 28 attempts, -6 yards rushing for Mexico against this U.S. defense. And it wasn't much better for Japan in their 43-18 loss against the United States. 16 carries, only 28 yards. Been tough going for the first two teams against this U.S. run defense.
Valderon, 2nd down, 7. He'll run. He's got a little room over the 25 to about the 27 or 28. Still shy of the first down, but a very manageable 3rd down. 3rd and short.
Yeah, designed quarterback draw. Nice job coming off the block to make the tackle. Yeah, he was down underneath. 6'2", 315-pound defensive lineman Malcolm Goins. Watch Goins come in. Here's the design play. This is a designed draw play. He's got lead blocking right here. He is rolled under by 315-pound tackle out of Austin Peay, Malcolm Goins. And he is obviously shaken up. That does not bode well for France. And again, nice job by Goins to come off the tackle. Completely legal hit, but he came off the block to make the tackle. So many times for quarterbacks, you see them, Jeff, get rolled, and they go onto that shoulder. There's an intense amount of weight from a big defensive lineman laying on top of them, and that's when you have the issues in and around the shoulder and the collarbone and those kinds of things. So let's hope that's not the case. Maybe it's just the wind being knocked out of him momentarily. Let's hope that's what he is. He doesn't want the trainer carrying him off. He's waving him off. I'm all right. Flexing that right shoulder. Let's hope he's all right, because he's a big part of this France offense.
That will bring on a new quarterback, number 2, Madison, Perez Madison. He has seen some time in this tournament. France has had some big wins, and he has had an opportunity to play.
That's the nice thing about winning big early on. You can get some guys game experience. Madison has had that.
And he'll go right to the air, almost hooked up with Delaval on the far sideline, and that will bring up 4th down and 1, and another punting situation for France.
And Perez Madison comes in. He completed his first pass. Did we mention that he's 41 years old? Youth gives way to age, but the result is the same. A good stout defense by the U.S. will force a punt.
Penalty markers on the snap. And the U.S. players seem to think it will be on France.
Yeah, I think.
32.
Yeah, Carl.
5 yards penalty. Still 4th down.
Carl Ashe, one of the gunners out here on the near side. There's a good look at him. He was a little bit premature out of the blocks. If it were track and field, it'd be a false start out of the blocks. Here it's going to cost him 5 yards.
United States blocked the last punt by C and returned it for a score. He is able to get this one away, and Douglas fields it inside the 35, and he's got some room to run. He is into France territory at the 49. Good field position for the United States.
Another nice job by special teams setting up. They played with half a field for that first score. And again, watch him find his wall of blockers, and a nice job holding up on by a couple of the United States special teams players, not throwing that block in the back of a France defender, and allowing Douglas just to do what he does best, get into the open field, use his speed to create a nice return, and set your team up with half a field.
18 yards on the return, 1st and 10. U.S. ready to go behind Kevin Burke. He wants to throw. He does throw. Deep ball. Got a man open. It's caught for a touchdown.
Oh, my.
Steelman.
Trent Steelman out of Army. Native of Bowling Green, Kentucky. It doesn't get any better than that. What a job by Kevin Burke to put enough air under it and then just let Steelman run to the football. Play action, they messed that up a little bit, but a key block by the fullback gives Burke enough time, and he connects. So that was a beautiful play, over the shoulder catch by Steelman, who ran right under it.
Burke will hold for another college teammate, Ed Runke. And he knocks it through to push it out to 19-0 with 6:03 left to play in the first quarter.
Kevin Burke did an outstanding job. Watch the running back step up. Key block by center field Rowe to give Burke enough time, because he had to put some air under this, and then just like a center fielder, taking away extra base hits, over the shoulder catch on the warning track, and into the end zone he goes. Outstanding pitch and catch. Steelman on the back end of that, the young man out of Army.
Even I could figure this out. Scoring drive, one play, 49 yards.
Well, the United States, 2 of their scoring drives have been on half a field, 52 yards, 6 plays in 1:38. As you mentioned, 8 seconds to cover 49 yards. Impressive. I was trying to look below us to see if the team from Japan has stuck around, and I can see some of the players down here from Japan directly below us here in the press box. You got to wonder what's going through their mind as they see this quick 19-point outburst.
How about this little pooch by Runke, and it is run down by
Arnaud
Vidal, able to fall on that. That may have been a design play, because you don't want to kick the ball to DeBlee.
The last thing you want to do is kick it to a guy who in 2 games has 2 kickoff returns totaling 192 yards for touchdowns. So probably a couple different wrinkles, and that was one of them.
Madison.
But a good heads-up play by Vidal.
Perez Madison still out there in relief of Paul Duran. They'll go to the ground game. Yepmo has nowhere to go. It'll go for no gain at the 38-yard line.
Stefan Yepmo been the big part of their running game, and he's a bit shaken up. He's going to leave the field.
Well, he lost his helmet. He has to, by rule, step out for 1 play.
The question I have, Jeff, is if you're the quarterback and now they're running under center and now they're going to go to the shotgun, do you worry about, could you just yell the play out if you yell it out in French? How many of the Americans are going to know what you're talking about? Do you have to disguise it and call it Blue Kitty left or anything like that?
Probably.
Or do you just call it?
Here's another running attempt. Nicholas Kandar.
Right now, I know
180, and that goes for no gain.
I know the defensive line for the United States right now is controlling this football game. That's one thing I do know. I don't know if they know French, but the big guys up front, Sherlock, Wick, and May, are getting the job done.
That's Ryan Hogan, the other one on that defensive line. 3rd and 10.
Tevin Davis is another one. He was instrumental in holding Mexico to -6 yards. He had 2 of the 8 sacks in that contest for the U.S.
Madison out of the shotgun, and penalty markers all over the place.
Well, this is an offense right now that is really out of sync and disheveled. They have no answer for what defensively the U.S. is throwing at them.
Illegal snap. Offense. 78. 5-yard penalty. Still Sada.
And France has tried everything. Their first possession, it was 5 wide. They've tried to run. They've tried screen passes. They lost their starting quarterback, being tended to on the sideline. And they'll go, at least for the time being, with Perez Madison.
Everybody's tight. 4 receivers set, but everybody's in tight.
3rd and 15. Madison has time. The hash, he connects. It's just a bit shy of the first down. First catch of the day for DeBlee.
Anthony DeBlee, we talked about how impressive he is on special teams. There's the first time we see him pull in a catch. He has just 3 catches for 44 yards in that game against Brazil. But again, he was instrumental defensively. Does a nice job shielding off his defender and then concentrating on the catch, not worrying about where the first yard marker is, but concentrating on making the catch. And down 19-0 already. Jeff, you got to go for it, right?
That's exactly what they'll do. Less than a yard for the first. Madison. Ground game, yep, Mo, and
I don't think so.
Close.
I don't think so.
Hey, offense, 11 up, 11 up, 11 up, 11 up.
You could see that the United States team doesn't think they have it. They think their defense is held, and they're getting the offensive unit ready to roll.
Long look at it.
Are they going to bring the chains out?
It appears as though they will measure.
That spot was a little bit gratuitous, perhaps. You take a look for yourself. Here's the handoff. Good first contact. Boy, he got nothing forward, even when he fell down, just barely over. It's going to be close.
It is a first down for the U.S. They take over on downs.
And for the third time, they're going to start a drive at midfield or from within. Scoring drives of 49 and 52 yards.
New quarterback for the United States,
Dylan
Favre.
Favre with impressive numbers.
Jalir Satterfield Rowe.
Satterfield Rowe does a nice little jump stop at the line of scrimmage. There was nothing there originally. Shows you his speed and quickness laterally to pick up something. United States going without a huddle.
Yeah, they have really had their foot to the floor in this first period. Favre, plenty of time to look it over. He'll throw, and it's incomplete. Favre took a shot, and there may be a penalty for roughing the passer.
That'll be roughing the passer. Could have been a penalty out here on pass interference. Very quickly to the ball, over the shoulder of the receiver, was Arnaud Vidaler. Well, they're going to call holding. So it's none of the above.
This will be, if it holds up, the first penalty on the United States.
Holding. Offense 70. 10-yard penalty. Repeat number.
Randall Harris going to be the guilty party. Well, that was close. 2 counts.
Second down, 17. They'll place the ball at the 45. Favre pumps, sets up a screen. Incomplete, intended for Griffin. And Griffin was a little late getting his head turned around looking for the ball.
Yeah, they had it set up, but some late pressure on Favre forces him to throw this a little quicker than he wanted. There you can see the miss block on the top. They had the big linemen trying to get over there. This thing's got to take a couple of more seconds for it to develop before Favre throws that football out there. And as you said, the intended receiver, Griffin, just was not turned around and looking for it. You can see the linemen were just getting out there. It had the makings of a pretty good screen. He set it up by looking everybody off to the wide side, took it back to the boundary, but couldn't connect, and it goes for naught.
Down is Sada.
Favre from the shotgun. 3rd and long. Over the middle, incomplete.
That's a nice job defensively, timing your hit.
Meacham was the intended receiver.
And again, well timed and a nice job defensively. Coming up out of the secondary by Marcin.
Punt formation for the U.S. Runke, end over end punt. It will hit at the 18 and head for the sideline, out of bounds near the 11.
Well, moral victory right now for France. Their defense holds for really the first time this afternoon, and now it's up to their offense to help out a little bit. Move the football, give that defense a break.
It's a 43-yard punt with no return. United States, not a surprise there. 104 total yards, only 26 for France, with 2:45 to play in the opening period. 49 of those for United States on one play.
They've played on half a field throughout this entire contest. Then you throw in the block punt for a touchdown as well. And it's been a first quarter totally dominated by the U.S. squad.
Another tough yard for Yepmo.
There's not much running room inside at all.
Rez Madison got the play directly from the sideline and into the huddle. Anthony DeBlee, top of your screen, has done a lot of offensive damage for this team, but he's been quiet so far. That's Yepmo again.
Again, that down defensive front. They're playing a three-man front, and the 3-4 is really doing a number on the five-man front of France. And again, what they're having is the linebackers walk up into the gaps, and that offensive line doesn't know who's staying or who's coming on any particular play, and it's really confusing them as to their blocking assignments, and that's what's opening things up along that offensive line, allowing his defense to dominate.
3rd and 11. Madison from the goal line. He's in trouble. He is wrapped up. He lost the handle, and the United States is on the loose ball for another touchdown.
Well, it looked as though they were going to spot him at the 1-yard line. They weren't going to give up a safety to the United States, but then all of a sudden the ball popped loose, and it turns into even more points for the U.S. Take another look at it. Boy, a great rush. That's Alec May out of Georgetown University. And did he come up with the football as well?
Matt O with the recovery. Linebacker from Dartmouth. Runke blasts another one up and through. And with a 1:14 to play in quarter number 1, United States 26-0.
Watch the bull rush coming from the right of your screen by Alec May. He just does a nice swim move, gets under the block attempt, has it. The ball's already coming loose at that point, and that's when it's fallen on following the play. And coming up with the touchdown on the fumble recovery is Matt O. They're having some fun.
Give him some camera time. Woo! Good shit, D. Someone sit next to me. I feel weird.
You'll have plenty of friends.
So, first quarter, 4 touchdowns for the United States. A run, a pass, a fumble recovery, and a block punt.
They're getting it done on every aspect. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me? They're
aren't
getting it
many
done.
other ways to get the ball in the end zone.
Got a defensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground. Doesn't get much better than that.
Two return men standing at the goal line, waiting the kick from Runke. Low line
They're
drive.
going to send it to him. See what he does. 104
out
yards.
of the end zone. He'll get to the 15, maybe the 17. And he's wrapped up there by T.L. Edwards out of Middle Tennessee
Well, see,
State.
at some point, I think special teams takes a pride in the fact that we know what this guy has done. We want an opportunity to see if he can do it against us. And now that you've built a 26-0 lead, now's the time to go ahead and test that theory. They're having some fun on the United States sideline, and rightfully so.
Matt O.
Yep.
Has himself a touchdown.
Played at Dartmouth. Originally out of Coppell, Texas.
Yepmo reverses field. Some positive yardage to the 21.
Well, I've been very impressive, not only with the front three, the down three that have been alternating in on the defensive line for the United States, but also the fill capability against the run by the linebackers. And now we're also seeing, the secondary. They're starting to creep up a little bit because not much of anything is working. So they're reading run, and they're getting up and helping out on tackles as well. And there you saw Yetmo. He goes, man, the hole's not there. I got to go elsewhere. And when he did, he had great fill from the outside to finish him off.
Perez Madison, 5 receiver package with time. And he had a man open, but couldn't hang on. That might have been DeBlee.
That was DeBlee. When you got a guy that size, that powerful, that quick, you got to wonder if somebody would see him, why he would not play at perhaps a collegiate level here in the United States. Got to catch it with your hands.
But right off of the top of his helmet.
And that's one of the things technique-wise when you talk about being a receiver. You see guys catch it against his body. And remember the first catch he had where he was just shy of the first down. Caught it against his jersey. You got to get the hands out there. You got to make the catch with your hands. I know that sounds silly. He's a receiver. Of course you catch it with your hands.
Madison, incomplete.
But the ability to do that is what separates the really good ones from the also-rans at any level, whether it's college or the NFL, is the ability to make that diamond with your hands and catch the football out away from your body.
So 12 seconds left in the first. And the United States will get the ball back. Alexander C. inside the 10-yard line again. Low snap, he digs it out, gets the punt away, high spiral. This will be Brian Douglas, and he's blasted as soon as he grabs the ball at the 44-yard line.
Boy, that's a good hit. Good job on special teams. Watch this. Carl Ashe, bam! Nice job on coverage from the gutter, Ashe. And a little exclamation point at the end. Nuh-uh, not here, not today.
Should be the final play of the opening period. From the 44-yard line, that is a good look at Dylan Favre. The run. Foster turns the corner. Should have first down yardage. They will mark the ball at around the 41. And that is the end of quarter number 1. The U.S. scores 4 touchdowns 4 different ways. 26-0 after 1. Second quarter begins with the United States in command, 26-0. And in possession of the ball, 1st and 10 at the France 41.
Good look from our fan cam, if you will. Luke Meacham, one of the 3 Mount Union players.
Sadale Foster goes back to work. Plenty of yardage for the first down. We may have more. Some late penalty markers as he nears the 22-yard line.
Well, big numbers as you might expect in that first half, besides the score of 26-0. 61 yards on the ground on just 7 carries for the United States. They had 59 yards through the air.
First pass. Defense 58. Half distance to go. By rule. USA touchdown.
Take a look at the run. Nice cut, good read, and a nice job of blocking by the big tight end who was in motion. He doesn't give it up. He sends it down the field, and finally finding the football and a hand on the face mask was the big fellow 58 on the tackle for France. Samuel Norca.
So that will push the ball to the 11-yard line. Dylan Favre This is Foster, sets up the blocks, still on his feet, he will score.
Foster does a great job running through a couple of tackles, takes a big hit at the 5-yard line, and just redirects himself. He bounced off of it. Watch it here, a little trap block by the tackle coming over. He couldn't find anybody to hit. Watch the contact coming up. You don't wrap him up, you're not going to bring Sadale Foster down. And it's a touchdown for Foster. He had 3 touchdowns in the previous 2 games coming into this one. You can see why he was effective running for Texas Tech. Sadale Foster with the TD.
And Runke on the try for point. Up and through. 23 seconds into the second period. The United States makes it a 33-0 advantage.
Well, again, this game changed when the big fella, Malcolm Goins, defensive lineman for the United States, fell and rolled over on top of Paul Duran, the starting quarterback. They had to go to their backup as we take a good look at the bench. Nice run.
That's the man right here.
Sadale Foster.
That's the man right here. Hey, man. Super 8, Foster.
Another brief scoring drive, 3 plays, 45 yards in 26 seconds.
Well, again,
not quite an 8-second drive.
But again, they're playing on half a field. They've been playing on half a field because of the outstanding defense. Their scoring drives are of 52, 49, 45 yards. They're playing on half a field. Imagine if they ever had to start on their own 10 or 20, the amount of overall yardage they would have put together. They're taking advantage of the short field, and they're scoring, and they're doing it by running it and throwing it very, very well.
I think all 3 plays were Foster, correct? And a penalty. So Runke, his first kick in this direction. That one will be a bit shorter at the 10-yard line, taken by Gravon. At Gravon, just shy of the 30-yard line. That's where France will set up 1st and 10 behind Perez Madison in relief of Paul Duran.
You know, France knew that they were coming into this contest. They knew they were the underdog against the team that has won back-to-back titles in the last 2 appearances here in the World Championships. But I don't know that they had any idea just how good this team was going to be, how fast, how strong, how efficient they were going to be. And now they're seeing it firsthand.
Madison with play action over the middle, incomplete. Almost got that one to Chabel. Robin Chabel, the tight end, did all he could to bring it in. And there on the coverage was Virgil.
Robert Virgil. Got to be very careful. He had a 17-yard interception against Mexico. Watch him here on the coverage. Comes in a little bit late. Got to be careful with that, leading with the head. You know, this is a kinder, gentler world when it comes to football all over the world. And plays like that are now no-nos.
Bubble screen. Villaval gets just shy of the 35.
Again, you can see how against even a slower or a lesser physical defensive unit, that play goes for about 5 yards. Might have gone 8, 9, 10, might even have been a first down. But this USA team, if you beat them on a particular play, they're still quick to recover and stop you and not give up the explosion play of over 10 yards.
3rd down, 4 yards to go. Madison, quick hitter and a nice grab that time. That is Anthony DeBlee, good enough for a first down.
Yeah, DeBlee, remember we questioned his hands on a hard-thrown ball that went through his hands, hit him in the helmet. Well, this is a nice catch right at you, and there you can see catching the ball with your hands away from your body, and he showed a nice job of it. Great camera work by our crew. Boy, they're doing an outstanding job down here, aren't they? Getting great shots.
1st and 10. And penalty markers will stop that play.
And it may have been offsides on one of the wide receivers. Yep, false start, and it's going to be against DeBlee.
Number 8, 5 yards penalty, still first down.
DeBlee comes up with the nice catch that gives him the first down. Then he turns around on the next play and jump starts.
The fourth penalty on France for 26 yards.
The only
one
category
for the
that
United States.
it's the only category that France leads in, and that's not a good thing.
No. So from their own 37, it'll be 1st and 15. Madison. Screen pass and incomplete. Yepmo was the intended receiver. And it wasn't going very far because the United States team had that one all figured out.
Had it smelled out, and again, you got to throw it so quickly because coming hard on that outside rush off the corner was Jack Sherlock. 6'4", 250-pounder out of South Dakota State, makes his home in Chicago, Illinois.
Second, 15. Bertolin in motion, a handoff up the middle, and again, a healthy jolt applied to the French running back, Yepmo. T.L. Edwards.
Yeah, that's just a great job coming off the corner. I don't know if he was set on a blitz on this, but he comes quick. He gets this football. He doesn't have any receiver responsibility, so he's going to be playing run, comes off the edge and is into the backfield in a hurry. T.L. Edwards out of Middle Tennessee State with a big tackle.
The gain was 1 yard, 3rd and 14. Madison pumps, sets up the screen, bobbled, and Yepmo, I think, caught the ball for no gain.
Here's a team, France, that with Duran at quarterback is throwing it all over the field, down the field. And now with the 41-year-old Madison at quarterback, Madison at the controls, they're struggling to throw the ball down the field.
We at Big Time Sports are proud partners with USA Football and ESPN in producing all 12 USA World Football Championship games. The Big Time Sports Network brings you the best in sports by television, radio, mobile app, and online. Catch all the action on Big Time Sports. Go to Big Time Sports Ohio or catch us on our mobile app at BTS Ohio.
Stephen Yepmo is the player shaken up. He was the intended receiver on that screen, and with the amount of pressure that the down defensive lineman for the USA is putting on them, they decided to try to take advantage of that by throwing quick screens left, right, over the middle and take advantage of it, but it hasn't worked.
The punt by C off the side of his foot and sails into the U.S. bench. And we'll see where they mark that. They'll mark it at the 35-yard line.
Having some fun with Alec May down on the near sideline. He's the one that had the sack of the quarterback, causing the fumble that resulted in a touchdown for his teammate. He mishandled that punt on the sideline, and that's what the raspberry cheers were for Alec May near side.
Kevin Burke back on at quarterback. He has split time with Dylan Favre. And he will hang on to the ball and pay the price.
Read option, you got to believe the read option is one play that France probably drilled over and over again, having seen what the USA teams like to do at the college level. And that's so they were well rehearsed in defending against the read, and Burke had nowhere to go.
2nd down, 11. Aaron Wimberly
Look
breaks
out.
free. A foot race up the sideline, a stiff arm, and he's down to the 20-yard line, and a late penalty. We may get a face mask added on.
Yeah, I think there was a face mask on the stop along the sideline, unintentional. It doesn't matter. Jan Balatokin, I think, is going to be guilty of reaching in on the tackle to make it, so they're going to add an additional to this. But what a great individual effort by the running back, Aaron Wimberly, out of Iowa State.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense, 21. Half distance to go. USF faster.
Here you see
a 48-yard run.
Yeah, missed tackles, three missed tackles, and he's off to the races for 48 yards. Now, it's fair. That's one thing I never understood. How is it an offensive guy can grab a face mask or give you a straight arm up against the face mask, but a defensive player cannot? Never understood that one.
First down, goal to go, 9-yard line. Kevin Burke.
Big hole.
Wimberly trying to finish it. He's into the end zone. We have a flag, however.
Yeah, we may have a holding. This might come against, let's see, down there in that offensive line for the United States. Might be Alex Land, Weber State. Let's see.
Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty. Repeat faster.
Now they're going to call it. They're going to call it on Randall Harris.
Who appears to disagree.
Apparently, was not happy with that call. So the touchdown's negated.
They will position the ball at the 14. First down, goal to go.
Boy, what a great job of running by Wimberly. The vision you could see as the hole opened up, and then lowering his shoulder to take it in the end zone, but it's all going to be called back.
Wimberly again. Stacked up at the 10. We've got Wimberly and Griffin running the ball, and they deliver as much pain as they absorb.
Yeah, Griffin's he is an outstanding lead blocker. He's got good size, 5'11", 233.
Burke, incomplete. Trent Steelman was the intended receiver. Hooked up with him from 49 yards out. I think they were just too close.
Yeah, this one, I think Burke was surprised how wide open Steelman was and just kind of a little anxious and wanted to reach it out there and hand it to him, put a little bit too much on him and overthrows him.
Third down, goal to go. Burke with time. End zone. That is a touchdown.
Big tight end, Ernest Brune.
6'4" out of Iowa State. 39-0 U.S.
Stone Mountain, Georgia. He's as big as a mountain, and be careful. He's coming right into your living room here. Little fade pattern into the end zone. Both hands, both feet. That's a touchdown.
And superb camera work.
There's an Emmy. Oscar, what do they get?
I think it's an Emmy.
Is it an Emmy?
I think. Ronke.
And off the post and in.
It'll count. Everything going the way of the United States of America. 7:18 to play until halftime, 40-0.
Well, again, I know France knew they were an underdog coming in, but after a couple of slow starts that turned into eventual blowouts for the United States, they came out with a vengeance in this one. As you said, everything going right. Jeff, this one ricochets post left and goes through.
That's not like Runke. That's a guy that'll run off 89 out of 90. He doesn't hit the post very often.
Let's go look at some of the big guys along that offensive line that are getting it done. Quarterback Kevin Burke on the near sideline as well, leading another touchdown drive for Team USA.
Kevin Burke's one of those guys that just wins. Told you, he won in high school. He won at Mount Union. That's a team in Mount Union, for those of you that aren't familiar. They go to the Division III championship game every year, and I mean like 12 years in a row.
Yeah, the big stage is nothing new for Kevin Burke, that's for sure.
DeBlee looking for a seam, and he will get over the 25 to about the 27. DeBlee, one of those guys, he is so big, and it really doesn't look like he's moving fast.
There's a touchdown combination. Ernest Brune, the tight end. Little fade pattern into the end zone from the man sitting next to him, the quarterback, Kevin Burke. Yeah, you're right. You know, he kind of glides. He's got that, you know, he takes 3 strides. Next thing you know, he's 12 yards up the field.
6'4", 209 pounds.
He's at the bottom of your screen. Matched up with Mike Edwards.
Madison. Back to the ground game. Nicholas Kandar. Just over the 30-yard line. Gain of 3 or 4 yards. We'll call it 2nd down 6.
Kandar with an equipment adjustment. There's a good look at Dan Hawkins. As you mentioned, very familiar. Colorado head coach.
Second down 6. Madison with a pitch.
Good blocking.
This is Kandar, and he looks to have first down yardage.
You know, when you get to the perimeter and you're able to turn it up and get downfield, that's because your wide receivers, those people out leading the play, those guys out in front of you are making downfield blocks. It's the hardest block in all of football to make. You sometimes have to do it on a moving target, and it's not easy to do. And when you're ripping off big yardage like that, you're getting outstanding downfield blocking.
Stefan Yepmo was their starting running back. Shaken up on their last possession. He is on the sideline. In fact, tried to come back in the game after that last play, and they waved him off.
It's a good
Madison,
look.
Plenty of time. Can't connect with Bertolin.
Well, that was a good look on that camera shot right into the eyes of 41-year-old quarterback Perez Madison. Madison
That he has
can't find it.
Wife is a French citizen.
So he's French by marriage. Makes him eligible.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep, Mo. To the 41.
You know, Yepmo's a durable kid. We've seen him go off the field, nicked up a little bit, had his helmet ripped off. I'll take this guy in my backfield. Stefan Yepmo had 106 yards on 13 carries and a touchdown against Brazil. Had a 53-yard run in that game. But I like what he's showing us, and he's not getting a lot of help because of the dominance along the defensive line and the linebacking core of the United States defensively. But boy, he's sticking his nose in there. He's not shying away by any means.
3rd and 8. Madison against the pressure and connects. It'll be shy of the first down, and it's incomplete anyway.
Yeah, they're going to wave that off. The intended receiver kind of short hopped it a little bit, made it look good.
Louis Lucerbe, the intended receiver. It'll bring up 4th down and 8, and C is on to punt it away again. This is a team in France that has put up, what, 80 points in 2 games?
Yeah, they've scored a lot, and this is an impressive first half defensively for the U.S.
It's a fake. United States wise to it. Brice Marcy ended up with a football. And the United States was there waiting on it.
There it is, little reverse. They snap it to the short man. There you can see, no, 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 not today.
B.J. Beatty.
That's B.J. Beatty. He's been on a couple of big plays. No, 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 not today, says a linebacker out of Colorado.
Yet another short field for the U.S. Favre back on at quarterback. And he'll hang on to this one. Dylan Favre, 24, 23-yard line. That name sounds familiar.
Dylan Favre is the nephew, Brett Favre. Started out, I believe, in Mississippi State, then transferred.
We play this game right next to the Professional Football Hall of Fame, and certainly Brett Favre will be here sooner than later.
And maybe Dylan, now having been here, will come back for the presentation.
This field, incidentally, is where they actually have the enshrinement ceremony and the Hall of Fame game.
That's a good look at it.
Pro Football Hall of Fame. That festival starts at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Summer has kind of flown by. Well, actually, most of us here in the state of Ohio, understandably, are still waiting for summer to get here.
That's right. There is Talir Satterfield Rowe. Looks like he has enough for a first down.
This is going to be a great opportunity with the U.S. up 40-0 in the first half. Get some these other players an opportunity to play, because remember, unlike college football, professional football, even high school, these guys are coming back. Today is Wednesday. They're expected to be on the field for the championship game on Saturday. And it's a bit different. And, having been around football as often, there's a recovery time there normally of a couple of days. And they're not going to have that. They're not going to get that. So it's imperative that they get their rest, that they get other guys reps. And now with the advantage and the lead, you're going to see a lot of new numbers and faces in the ballgame.
Satterfield Rowe pushes it inside the 10. First down, goal to go on the 6. Yes, American football, as they call it, is usually played once a week.
That's exactly right. Easy practice. If you play, then you got easy practices. Very little contact Monday and Tuesday. You come back Wednesday, you ramp it up on Wednesday, then you taper off again.
Favre connects with Steelman. A second touchdown for Steelman. First for Favre, 46-0.
Steelman, I like this young man. He's kind of, again, we start to compare these guys like him, what they're capable of doing, how gutty they are, to a Julian Edelman, a guy who was a quarterback in college, turned receiver for New England, and has turned into a heck of a receiver. He's got a couple of Super Bowl rings to prove it. And that's Steelman. He's a hard-nosed kid, played his college football at Army.
Runke makes good on yet another point. With 2:56 to play, first half, 47-0.
And he's a guy who's kind of a possession receiver. And again, he knows, he's very smart, and he reads where the open areas are, and he gets there, and he hopes the quarterback can get him the football as he does on this. Then he does the rest. Second touchdown. Remember that first touchdown was a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch of 49 yards from Kevin Burke. That was a beauty.
United States well represented here, of course, in Northeast Ohio.
There's a good look at Trent Steelman. I don't think he's still wearing that high and tight Army haircut, but he's got the red, white, and blue mouthpiece.
Another long drive for the U.S., 26 seconds. They've had at least 3 drives under 30 seconds.
I don't know. I think if I'm the coach from Japan, I'm just going to say, fellas, let's get out of here. I don't want you to see this and become so intimidated. That's probably not a good idea.
Japan, of course, waiting on the winner of this game, Saturday's gold medal affair. We'll have it for you here on Big Time Sports. The DeBlee on the return became airborne near the 20-yard line. And finally placed down on the turf. It'll be 1st and 10 from there. The U.S. and Japan played for the gold medal last year. So Japan may be here, and they may be anxious for a rematch.
Yeah, well, I think be careful sometimes what you wish for. This has been an impressive display by Team USA here in the first 24 minutes of play. We still have 2:45 remaining. But Jeff, to be honest with you, I think this game took a turn, obviously turned for the worse for France when they lost their starting quarterback. I think it really changed what they do. You got the tall quarterback in Paul Duran, who is the team leader and is the guy that can really lead this offense and has led it to most of its points here in the first 2 contests. He goes out early. Not only the mental aspect of it, but what you have to change when you put a 41-year-old quarterback in at the controls as your backup.
Perez Madison, he'll swing it out. And Bertolin gains yardage to the 27. So 3rd and short. We are under 2 minutes to play until halftime.
See, this is the other thing I've never quite understood. You got that quarterback, 41, and you're running him over to the sideline, telling him what the play is, and you're running him back in. Hey, take one of those young kids and send him in with the play and give it to the guy. He needs to save his energy on offense.
3rd and 3. Pass is complete, but it will be shy of the first down, it would appear.
Yeah, it looks like they might be a yard shy if they give him forward progress to about the 29. Well, let's see, boy.
Bertolin says he got the 30. They'll put the ball on the 30.
Boy,
and it appears to be a
chains.
first down.
Oh, my goodness. The ref closest to it was saying 29-yard line. He never got to the 30. He never got to the 30 when he didn't have the football.
Didn't appear to. First down nonetheless. Under a minute. They have 3 seconds to snap the ball. Madison pumps and he'll go down.
Yeah, good backside pressure. Jack Sherlock with the sack out of South Dakota State, 6'4", 250. And now they're saying a fumble. Did he force a fumble as well? And
Sherlock stripped the ball, and the United States
makes the tackle.
Up with it.
See if we can see him. Nice inside-out move. Little swim. Left his defender. Yep. Comes out very quickly. And right before he sits on it, he's able to pull it in.
He just reached in with his right hand, pulled the football away, and it landed right in his lap.
Yeah, there it is. And he finally got his hands on it. He won the tug of war. He gets a sack, forced fumble, fumble recovery.
Evan Burke. Quick pitch on the right side. Kyle Kaiser.
Yeah, that's vintage Kevin Burke right there. The quick out, throw it to the area, coming right out of your break. The receiver turns his head and the football's right there.
30 seconds remaining. United States with all 3 timeouts. Burke. Great block to free him, and Burke will run inside the 10 to the 5. He dives for the goal line. The ball's loose, picked up in the end zone, and it's a touchdown.
Not quite how it was drawn up.
Looked like Kaiser ended up with the ball. They're going to, without doubt, take a look at the replay.
This play turns into chaos very quickly. Kevin Burke looks left, feels pressure coming straight up the center of the field. Whoop, watch that move.
Great
nice
move. Now
one.
watch this block.
And heads up. And then right side, Burke says, I'm going to tuck this thing and go. Another picks up another good block downfield, and I think he was caught trying to reach the ball forward. That's what it was. He was trying to reach the ball as he was going down into the end zone, and the ball came loose and was scooped up in the end zone by the wide receiver, Kyle Kaiser.
So with 16 seconds, Runke hangs the 54th United States point on the board, and we've got late penalty markers.
And we didn't think there was another way for the United States to score in this game. So now you have a fumble recovery in the end zone on defense and a fumble recovery on the offense. And there you see Burke Nation in the house.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. 67. It's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. 15-yard penalty on the succeeding kickoff.
There we are.
Sportsmanlike conduct and the Burke Nation.
There they
all
are.
the way down from the greater Cleveland area.
Mom and
parents.
Dad Burke there. Boy, they've had some moments to share with their son, as you mentioned, not only his success in high school, but then again, he's a two-time Division III Player of the Year. And all the highlights he brought forth at Mount Union.
And if things stay the way they are, he'll have a chance to play for a gold medal.
If things don't change.
If things don't change.
Well, I think Japan has seen enough. They have headed out to get dinner.
2 plays, 22 yards, 18 seconds on the touchdown following the fumble recovery. Deblee with a head of steam. He is
nice
spun
tackle.
around at the 40-yard line, falls ahead to about the 42 with 9 seconds remaining.
Boy, I tell you, he gets through that gap. You might not have been able to catch him. Nice job by T.L. Edwards on special teams. He got a hold of him. This game is presented under the copyright of the IFAF. Any use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the expressed written consent of the IFAF is strictly prohibited. Means don't do it.
Don't do it. First and 10, 43-yard line. Madison looking deep. Deblee has it. Stiff arms his way over the 35 and is able to fall forward to the 34. They'll stop the clock momentarily with 1 second left. And now a timeout called by France.
Team timeout. France.
Couldn't tell if he got out of bounds or if they stopped to move the chains. It looks like they stopped to move the chains.
Well, at this point, if you can give your quarterback enough time, send it down there and let the big fella, talking about Anthony Deblee, go up and get it.
Correction. This is the second timeout in the half.
$54-0 in France. Certainly would love to get that 0 off the board as they head to intermission. France won the opening toss, elected to receive, so to make matters worse, the United States will get the ball to start the third quarter.
Yeah, we'll have to come back and look once again at the number of drives under 30 seconds and the number of drives under 1 minute for the United States in this one. Not to mention a blocked punt recovered in the end zone, a sack and a fumble recover in the end zone. But many of their drives have taken maybe a couple of plays and very few time off the clock.
USA. This is the first time in the half.
Now the United States will use a timeout. They sure the defense is right.
Well, they want to play a little chess match, and they want to make sure, hey, guys, defensively, you've done a great job. Let's save this first half shutout. Let's decide how we're going to play it. We're going to play zone. We're going to let how many. Nobody obviously gets behind us. There's a good look at Dan Hawkins. U.S. sideline.
Coming up at halftime, IFAF Vice President Rupe Noradon will be joining us. Get his impressions of the tournament thus far, the city of Canton, international football in general. Three receivers to the near side. DeBlee is in the middle.
In the middle. He's the man in the middle. It's the lower half of your screen.
Madison steps away from pressure, and he'll go down.
Yeah, it won't matter. Nice job defensively coming up with the sack. Brian Douglas.
It has been all USA. 54-0 over France as we head to halftime. Halftime in Canton, Ohio, 54-0. United States over France. And joining us at halftime, the Vice President of IFAF, Rupe Noradon. And thanks for joining us. First of all, let's get your impressions of really the entire tournament in general here on day 3. We're on the second half as we are on the eve really of the medal games. What's your impression of how things have gone so far?
I think everything's gone fairly well. Of course, it's a growing game. It's a new game in some parts of the world, so we see some level differences between the countries. Looking from the past tournaments, every time it starts to get closer and closer. Some of the countries, of course, have a long way to develop their game to be in the top level, but we have a good group of teams from all across the world, and people play football. What could be better?
Can you talk a little bit about how the teams are chosen to be here and how they qualify to get to the championships?
Yeah, in different continents we have different type of qualification systems. In Europe, where the game has been played longer, there's a continuation of the European Championships that have been played since 1983. And the top teams from there qualify. This time, of course, we didn't get all the best teams coming in with the late changes on the tournament, unfortunately, happening. But that's one of the ways in Asia and in South America, Americas, we have then qualification game format where knockout format winner gets going forward.
You mentioned the late changes. There was another site involved, and at the last minute, really, it was brought here to Canton. Could you just touch upon how that transpired and why it ended up here?
Well, why it ended up here, first of all, since the previous host was lost, and then there needed to be a change of plans very late in December, January. Canton, I guess, was the choice then, because in 2009 we had the Junior World Championships here, and everything was great back then, so we knew that the environment and the host is something that is capable of pulling a good tournament through in this emergency situation.
You talk a little bit about the way Canton has received. You mentioned it's a good host. How is it considered to be a good host? Are there things to do outside the football world, or?
I think it's everything. It's a complete atmosphere that people get, the feeling you get from the teams when you talk with them, game officials, everybody coming here. It's a combination. We do have the certain criteria where we then measure afterwards whether everything was successful or not, but it's more about the feeling that people get once they go home. If they're happy, it's a good thing.
All right, well, we appreciate your time. Good luck all the way through the tournament and in tournaments going forward. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks.
We're back with more. 54-0 United States over France. The second half begins after this timeout on Big Time Sports. Benson Stadium, halftime continues. 54-0 United States. Joined again by Tom Linder, and we'll go over the highlights. There aren't many for France, a lot for the United States.
France leads in 2 categories right now, penalties and time of possession. Amazingly enough, they have time of possession because the drives for the U.S. were on half a field most of the game.
Let's take a look at the halftime highlights. It started out fast and kept going from there.
Fast and furious. You see the great block by Griffin, and into the end zone goes Wimberly. And then the blocks punt. Great job scooped up, taken in the end zone by Beanie. And then this beautiful pass, Kevin Burke airs it out. Steelman comes up with the reception and the touchdown. Here's the quarterback sack. Fumble recovery in the end zone. Another touchdown as this USA team just finding all kinds of ways to score. Then an outstanding power run by Sadale Foster, breaking tackles and taking it into the end zone. Here's a beautiful pass into the corner on the fade. Tight end run with the reception. As you can see, they're getting it done every way possible. Steelman with his second touchdown on the reception takes it into the end zone. Here's a quarterback sack and the fumble recovery, which sets up another opportunity, and Kevin Burke cashes in a little bit of an unorthodox way, trying to reach for the end zone, fumbled it, but as everything's been going USA's ways, right into the hand of his teammate.
54-0. The United States will get the ball to start the second half, which begins after this timeout on Big Time Sports. Welcome back. We prepare for the start of the third quarter. Let's check out the halftime stats brought to you by Gatorade.
Well, you can take a look right away. -4 yards rushing. Haven't been able to get much of anything going. Look at the big yardage on the ground for the U.S. 201 yards rushing. Remember, most of the yardage has come from the U.S. team's outstanding defense playing on half the field. Penalties, 5 times for 34 yards. First downs, only 5 for France. Doubling them up, the U.S. And the turnovers are a factor as well. Turnovers have resulted in points for this U.S. team as they surged out to a 54-0 lead.
Halftime numbers brought to you by Gatorade, the official sports fuel provider of USA football. C will kick off. We got all of that one. It is into the end zone and out of the end zone for a touchback. First kickoff of the game for France.
Nice leg from that young man. Nice job. He got in all of that one. Alexander Sy.
So we have seen Favre and Burke at quarterback for the U.S. And it appears it will be Favre to start the second half.
Again, it's a great luxury for this USA team to have 2 outstanding leaders that are interchangeable at that quarterback position. And they're really reflect well off each other because they both do similar type things, so there's not much of a change in the offense.
Shotgun formation. They will keep it on the ground. This is Griffin. Works his way to the 22. Nick Griffin, 233-pounder out of Mississippi State.
And Griffin doesn't often get a carry. You know, he's the guy doing all the dirty work inside, the inside blocking. Every once in a while, get the inside handoff between the tackles. They'll give him a look here early on.
Favre on 2nd and 9. We'll go back to Griffin. Solid contact at the 22-yard line. He's wrapped up there.
Well, I don't really have any expectations that France is going to fold up the tents. They're going to come out here, continue to play as hard as they can. It's obviously a learning situation for them as well, and I think their coaches probably took the approach in the halftime locker room saying, hey, you know, okay, let's start over. Let's go 0-0 and see what we can do in the second half. We definitely were not impressive in that first half, but let's see if we can't come out here, be more impressive, and leave this field with our heads high.
Favre is able to hook up with Luke Meacham, another Mount Union product out of Toledo, Ohio. It's good enough for a first down.
But again, this is a nice hookup, nice route by Meacham, got separation, and then just doesn't try to do too much with it.
Griffin again, no gain.
Gets up a little slowly, hopefully he's all right. Giovanni Nanji, I should say. Get the right pronunciation, Nanji.
Favre, a little deception. Leaps over the 35 and is down near the 40. Sets up third down about a yard.
Boy, nice run. See, evades the oncoming tackler, then uses his block effectively. Nice block thrown downfield by Luke Meacham, who had the reception a little bit earlier.
Favre with a quarterback sneak, waiting for the spot of the football, and I'm not sure he got the first down.
Yeah, they're going to look that he's a little short. They're going to go for it. They're going to get right up there on that line of scrimmage. No splits, stepping on each other's feet along that offensive line. They're that tight.
Griffin didn't make it.
Now let's see the spot. Well, we got one official walking in at the 42. You got the other one walking in at the 41. They'll split the difference, 41.5 first down.
A generous spot.
I think you might be right on that.
1st and 10, U.S. Carrington Hanna. Nearby Streetsboro, Ohio. That's another first down to the 45 of France.
Well, he's a good target, 6'2", 218 out of Sioux Falls. Originally played his high school ball in Streetsboro. Big tight end with a nice catch. Good run after the catch.
Griffin again. Another big chunk. I would agree with keeping the ball on the ground. You're up 54-0, but I'm not sure why they're going without a huddle.
Yeah, that, I'd like to see him take more time off the clock at this point. There's not anything you're going to achieve at this point in the ball game. Get back in the huddle, take that game clock down to 5-6 seconds every opportunity and shorten this game up.
Griffin goes back to work, crosses the 30, and backs his way to the 28.
I understand it's maybe not necessarily your style of play,
yeah,
but that's okay too. There's no reason, and I understand them keeping it on the ground, but take more time off before each and every play. There's no reason to be running these plays with 25, 26 seconds left on the play clock.
Second down, 2 yards to go. Favre. That will be a handoff to Satterfield Rowe. Another first down. He is down to the 17.
New Jersey native, played his college football at West Virginia State, 5'10", 200-pounder. You can just look at the stable of backs in the backfield, and one of the things you don't necessarily see on some of these other teams from the other countries is depth at some of these different positions that the Americans have at backfield and at quarterback.
Satterfield Rowe. See where they spot it. Looks like the 10. Well, he will be shy of the first. Second down, around 3 yards to go. Satterfield Rowe right up the middle, sets up first down, goal to go from the 3.
Well, you could say sets up his blocks as well too, Jeff. Watch how he takes this little stutter step. He waits for his blocks to develop, looking for a seam. Then he has that explosion, that burst to take it into the secondary when he sees a gap.
He'll get the call again. Stacked up by the front line of France. Willie Nikishi, 319 pounds on the stop.
And again, wholesale substitutions along that offensive line. Again, remember, these teams both have to turn around and play again on Saturday. And if you're in the gold medal game, as the USA will be, you want to keep everybody fresh.
There is Talir Satterfield Rowe. Touchdown.
Made it look easy. They brought in the extra linemen, went with their meat package, if you will, the big boys up front. And it was an easy choice for Talir Satterfield Rowe. Just looked to the outside. There was nobody there. And he goes into the end zone untouched. See the big guys up front. They had everything sealed outside, and good vision by Satterfield Road, taking it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Ed Runke. The extra point is good. 6:25 to play. Third quarter. Another look at the touchdown.
And they bring in the extra lineman. And there I said, Nick Griffin doing the dirty work. He gets the key block and a nice read by Satterfield. Nick Griffin, the fullback out of Mississippi State, gets the key block. Satterfield reads it well, sees that he's got his man turned inside, plays off that block and takes it into the end zone for the touchdown.
A 5.5 minute drive, roughly. That's a long drive for the U.S. today.
Now that's obviously their longest drive, and let's face it, they were trying to keep it on the ground, trying to take time off the clock, shorten this game up. But impressive, 15 plays, 80 yards, 535. In the first half, they had 8:58 in time of possession. So in that situation, they just doubled what they were able to, almost double, or half of what they put together, I should say, in that first half. On that single drive. There's the young man who got the touchdown for Team USA.
61-0. And Runke has it teed up at the 35. This will be Quavon, knocked off his feet at the 15.
And a nice job coming down on special teams, Trent Steelman. And as again, you know, when you have this 45-man roster, everybody's got to help out in one way or another. Here's a guy with a couple of touchdown catches, and then he comes down and makes a big play on special teams. Here's the numbers on Perez Madison to this point in the ball game. 50% completion rate for 64 yards, but a lot of that's been sideways, not down the field.
Came in midway through the first period in relief of Paul Duran, who was shaken up and has not returned. This is a mix-up in the backfield, and Madison has no choice. Alex May is there along with Matt O.
Boy, May has had some kind of day today, hasn't he? He had the sack near the end zone, and forced fumble, allowed his teammate to get the fumble recovery and the touchdown. And here's another tackle for a loss by the big fella, trailing the play, keeping his feet under him, and then being in the right place at the right time by keeping a proper pursuit angle.
Second down, 18 from their own 7. Madison from the goal line sets up the screen. Bertelin will gain yardage to the 18. Third down, 7. So they are out of the hole, and it's not an insurmountable down to face at 3rd and 7. Under 5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Madison with time, deep, down the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands of DeBlee. Double covered on the play.
Yeah, that's a nice job defensively. Curtis Slater, the defensive back out of West Texas A&M. Houston, Texas, his hometown. He's not anywhere near as tall, doesn't have the reach at 5'8" as the 6'4" receiver, but he makes it work for him. Good pressure. As that ball arrives, he comes forward and slaps it away. Nice job defensively.
Alexander C. to punt. Andy Erickson standing at his own 40. High snap. C brings it down and catches one on the side of his foot. Second hop. Erickson gathers it in, and he'll try a return to the right side. Great block at the 45. Erickson into France territory and down near the 43. And we've got penalty markers down after the play.
Well, again, I'm not sure. He didn't taunt him. This is one of those blocks of an unprotected player. Let's see if that's going to be the call. It was obviously a very late flag, but
24 yards on the return. Carl Ashe was shaken up on the play. Tried to limp his way to the sideline, didn't quite make it.
Yeah, trying to take this type of contact out of the game.
Personal foul. Targeting.
They call it targeting.
USA 44. Play is under the review.
We'll get a look at it.
Well, you'll see it. It's going to come from the right of your screen. That's an unprotected, unsuspecting player. It's a clean hit. Don't get me wrong. In the good old days of football, very legal. But here's the problem. An unprotected player not looking, and you had helmet-to-helmet contact as well. So, you know, that's the issue. Trying to protect the players, running full tilt. Literally, you're focused in on the ball carrier, and this is where this happens. It happens in long passes downfield.
Rule on the play was confirmed. Personal foul. Targeting. USA. 44, number 44. 15 yard penalty. By rule, number 44 is disqualified.
I'll take again, and again, there is helmet-to-helmet contact. Whether it's accidental is not relevant, but you see shoulder-to-shoulder contact. But when his head comes under, and part of it is when the football helmet comes off, it's obvious that there was some kind of contact. There you see it, crown of the helmet underneath the face mask, pops the helmet off. I know a lot of people don't like it, but that's football in today's world. It's different. You better get used to it.
So the call was on B.J. Beatty, and he has been disqualified.
Team timeout.
This one game.
USA.
Now with the targeting foul, he has to sit out one game, my understanding. He has to sit out one game with the disqualification. So, unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's aware of that yet, but Beatty will have to sit out the gold medal game.
And that's unfortunate.
And again, any player that's disqualified is not allowed to stay on the field, so they'll walk him off. If they haven't, they soon should. Those are the rules.
He is down near
still
the
standing
15-yard line.
Right, but
the side judge talking to him.
Yeah, referee is talking to him. He does have to leave the field, go to the locker room. And again, unfortunate for that young man because he's trying to make a play. He's trying to play the game of football, but intended or not intended, that helmet-to-helmet contact is just not going to be accepted anymore in today's game of football.
Dan Hawkins getting the full explanation.
And the realization for Dan Hawkins and Team USA is that he won't be eligible for the gold medal game, and now that sinks in, and he doesn't like it. You could read the lips of head coach Dan Hawkins. He said, wow. Again, by no means was that hit a dirty, cheap hit. It was a good block, but it was on an unsuspecting player who was not focused on that particular action and the play, which as often happens. And it used to happen on kickoffs, punt returns, those kinds of things all the time, and they're trying to protect that player.
I'm here.
He's on.
Bill Lamagna joining us, head of officiating, talking about that call, and it's unfortunate, but the after effects are just now ripple effect going through Team USA and their coaching staff, but explain it as you saw it.
I don't disagree with you in terms of the that it wasn't a dirty type hit, but that player coming across, that's a blindside block, and that makes him a defenseless player. So if the contact is to the head neck area and it's forcible, that becomes a targeting foul. The unfortunate thing for 44 is obviously the disqualification for the remainder of today, and he has to sit out. He has to sit out the Knicks game, the full Knicks game.
Now let me ask you this, Bill. In this situation, we see, I know in college football, they can go back and review it to see if it's intentional or not intentional, and they can release the disqualification, correct?
They can release the disqualification if it was on a review after this game.
But we won't know that until...
That'll be done, and I'll communicate that with the IFAF officials. I doubt very much we're going to see something changed on that.
Thank you very much. Bill Lamonier, head of officiating here for IFAF, with an explanation of that hit and the consequences of it.
Kevin Burke is back in at quarterback for the U.S. A couple of nice runs by Aaron Wimberly. It'll be second down, 8 yards to go from the 39.
See, now we're seeing what I thought the USA should have done earlier. They're going from the huddle. They're breaking the huddle, coming to the line of scrimmage, taking much more time, letting that clock run down inside 10 seconds to shorten this game up.
Wimberly turns the corner again, lowers his shoulder. Balatoken will get credit for the tackle.
Jeff, you're not going to see any less effort out of these guys, but there's way to shorten this game, and going to the huddle and taking the snaps at that time. But you can see the intensity's not going to let up, as we saw that run by Aaron Wimberly. He's going to play the game hard, and they should. But again, there's ways, as they're doing right now, and I think this is something coming from head coach Dan Hawkins. It's a great display of sportsmanship. Let's run this clock down, and on his own accord, let's get my players out of here healthy as well.
Wimberly 123 yards at a score
on just 9 carries. I'm not very good at math, but I think that's a pretty good average per carry.
You like a running back around 4 or 5 yards a carry.
That, yeah.
I think he's beyond that. Well, the U.S. has scored 9 touchdowns, Tom. 8 different players.
In about 6 different ways,
yes.
Right? Fumble recovery, sacks, blocked punts into the end zone, touchdown receptions, fumble recovery on offense in the end zone.
Long pass, long run, short run.
Needless to say, for Team USA, Jeff, this has been their best performance start to finish. And I know we still have a fourth quarter to play, but they've come out, they've looked a little sluggish. They've turned the ball over in a couple of times in their first 2 wins. Games were close, and finally they pulled away in the second half of some of those contests to win big in the first 2 games. 30-6 over Mexico. That was a much closer game at halftime as it was against Japan as well, before they finally won 43-18. But boy, from the get-go, this has been the best start and hopefully the best finish for USA.
Third quarter comes to a close, 61-0 United States. Welcome back to Canton, Ohio. 61-0 United States in possession of the ball. 3rd down 6 at the 27-yard line of France. And Kevin Burke will throw. It is caught. That will be a first down catch by Drew Banks. He is out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
But Kevin Burke made a living on these types of passes as a quarterback for Division III Mountain Union. Quick outs, timing patterns worked throughout the summer with his teammates to perfect it. Literally unstoppable when he's in a rhythm. And he's showing you a little bit of that here today.
He'll work from the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right. And he'll hand off. This is Sadale Foster, who cuts it back, racing for the pylon and into the end zone for a United States touchdown.
By Foster just weaving his way through the defense. And watch downfield when we take a look at this play at the 1 yard line. The guy who's setting a little pick block. As he runs past defender. Oh, there he is. Number 10, the quarterback. Little push and a shove to get just enough to allow Foster to get into the end zone untouched. That's the quarterback, folks, running down the field looking to see if he can help a teammate out.
The extra point by Runke is up and through. And with 11:10 to play in the ball game, it is 68-0.
Watch the vision coming from Sadale Foster as we take a look at this ground level. It's play designed to go to the right. He doesn't see anything there. He cuts back against the grain, outruns 3 defenders who took a bad angle in pursuit. There you get a real good look at it. Bad angle. And then there with a little friendly shove, making sure there's no contact on his running back is the quarterback, Kevin Burke.
11 minutes and 10 seconds left to play, and the United States will have a rematch with Japan in the gold medal game. It'll be right here on Saturday night.
Hey, Mom, hey, Dad. Yes, sir. T-Pain. Shout
out to my girls back in LBK. Love both y'all. My peoples, my mom and dad.
Having some fun on the USA sideline, and why not? You saw a combination of about 4 or 5 touchdowns right there between those guys.
Deblee has trouble handling the kickoff, and a great open field tackle by Slater to drop him at the 4.
Yeah, Slater does a great job getting his body under control. The defensive back out of West Texas A&M, Chris Slater, has been a demon on special teams all night tonight.
Oftentimes when this happens, you see a guy pick up the ball and find a seam because the defenders don't stay in their lanes.
Yeah, they see they see meat in the water like a shark, and they come off and don't stay in their lanes, and it disrupts them oftentimes, but not so for Curtis Slater. He does a nice job, makes a good open field tackle.
Madison will start in a hole again, 4-yard line. Low snap, it's kicked by the running back, it's on the ground, and believe it or not, the U.S. has it.
Boy, everything going the way of USA today. And coming up with that one from the defensive side, as you said, the ball was loose. It goes on the ground, and then it gets kicked by the running back. This would be a great angle to see it. Low snap, couldn't pull it in. Running back went after it, went off his shin, and Johnny on the spot to scoop it in. Derek Webb out of Colorado University.
To say this is good field position would be a gross understatement.
Well, we've been talking about playing on half a field. Now they're playing this touchdown attempt as an extra point. They're at the 3-yard line.
On the front porch. Satterfield, Rowe, and Griffin are the running backs. So Satterfield, Rowe, and he's thrown for a loss.
As I said, Francis not going to fold the tents. They're still going to play this thing out regardless of the score. That's just a great job blowing through the hole by the defender on that play. Killian Merrimon. And a great job coming through and making the stop. And again, these guys are playing hard for France. They're looking at the situation, the down, and they're playing this as a goal line stand. They're not looking at the other end of the field of that scoreboard, nor should they.
Dylan Favre is back in at quarterback. Satterfield roll, trying to turn the corner. And Carl Tembo wouldn't have it. Back to the original line of scrimmage at the 3. It'll be 3rd and goal from there.
Well, again, to take a good look at head coach Dan Hawkins, his biggest concern right now is getting this team out of this game healthy and start to prepare first thing in the morning, probably tonight, for Japan in that gold medal game. So U.S. look to go 3 in a row, back to back to back gold medals.
3rd down, goal to go. Favre through the air, wide open. Another touchdown. That's Ernst Brood.
Ernst Brood out of Iowa State. This is something you see. Big fella collects a second. They did a fade route before to get to him. This is off play action. He'll hesitate at the line of scrimmage just long enough to make him think it's a run play. Then he releases. He's wide open. Second choice is to back out of the backfield. But as so oftentimes will happen, the quarterbacks, the safeties, they get caught up in the run. They come forward, and the tight end hesitates, does that little delayed block, and he ends up being wide open.
The extra point is good. You can make it 75-0. This is a team, from France, we talked about it. They put some big numbers up in their first 2 wins.
And they've yet to dent the scoreboard after putting up 84 points in their first 2 games. They outscored their opponents 84-9 in the first 2 games. But again, we have to go back. If you're just joining into the broadcast, they lost their starting quarterback early on in this contest. They had to go to their backup quarterback, and it really effectively changed what they did. And when they weren't successful offensively, they continued to give Team USA a short field. Team USA too strong, capitalized with the outstanding play that they have on the offensive line. They did a great job.
You mentioned 84-9. It's now 84-84.
You're right. So that scoring deficit that the teams faced is now even. I like that.
Kickoff by Runke, high and deep. Fielded about 2 yards deep in the end zone. Returned by Couvon. Down to about the 19-yard line. We at Big Time Sports are proud partners with USA Football and ESPN in producing all 12 USA World Championship games. The Big Time Sports Network brings you the best in sports by television, radio, mobile app, and online. Catch all the action on Big Time Sports. Go to Big Time Sports Ohio or catch us on our mobile app at BTS Ohio. 1st and 10, 19-yard line. Just under 9 minutes remaining in this one. And back to the ground game in the arms of Asnel Rabot. He will gain a yard to the 20, 2nd down 9. We keep talking about the United States has a game tomorrow, so does France. And they're trying to get something to click. They may be without their quarterback tomorrow.
On Saturday, but still, it's going to seem like tomorrow for some of these guys, the hits, the contact they've taken today, they're not going to get that normal recovery time, and it's going to seem like that Saturday rolls on them quite quickly.
Madison eludes the pressure, ball tipped and incomplete.
Well, he had two teammates lined up in the same passing lane. It gets deflected. Fortunate for France that it does fall incomplete. You're not going to rattle this 41-year-old quarterback. I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen. He's been there and done all that, and then some. And he's going to stand in that pocket to the last possible moment and try to make a play.
3rd down 9. Madison down the seam. That's picked off. Heading back to the 40, out of the 35, still on his feet to the 20, refusing to go down. It's T.L. Edwards, works his way inside the 15 and down to the 11.
Boy, maybe one of the most exciting returns and plays of the day. 36-yard interception return, breaking how many tackles? Here's the pick. Count the missed tackles, or broken. There's 1, 2. They don't wrap him up. He stays in bound. That's 3 missed tackles. Runs out of a third, a fourth, and then finally take it down. Ran out of 4 tackles. What a return by T.L. Edwards.
All right, on the 10-yard line, first down, goal to go. This is Nick Griffin. He will lose about 3 yards.
That's a tired man. He ran, 2 interceptions, and he ran 74 yards on that 36-yard return.
Right now, he's just trying to catch his breath.
You'd have to get some oxygen on that USA sideline.
7 minutes left to play. United States in no hurry. Dylan Favre getting the play from the sideline. That's one way to slow things down. Just don't give him the play.
Yeah, and again, they're gonna take this down inside 10 seconds, preferably down to 4 or 5 seconds left on the play clock before they snap it.
Tight end in motion, and it's Griffin. Cut back to the 10, and steams his way forward to about the 6. Third down, goal to go from there.
Boy, what a luxury it is to have the backfield that the USA team has with Satterfield, Rowe, Griffin, Foster, Wimberly.
And Griffin into the end zone for yet another United States touchdown.
Well, that's good for the big fella because he's always leading the blocks, getting the blocks, doesn't necessarily always get the football. Now he gets his opportunity to hit the end zone. Good block at the point of attack. That was Mike Christie. He's out of Washington University. He had a nice block to set this up.
Burke is the holder. Runke with another extra point. You can make it 82-0. Now a matter of 6 minutes between the United States and another appearance in the gold medal game.
And again, mistakes have been an issue, turnovers have been an issue, penalty, and then just the complete physicality of this game and the dominance along both the offensive and defensive lines for the United States have allowed them to do just about anything they've wanted, and it shows on the scoreboard.
So France ready. And here come the Americans. Vaughn and DeBlee. We talked quite a bit about DeBlee, and he has 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns here in the tournament, right?
Correct, but he's not sure he's back here at this point. I don't think he's one of the receivers back there. Yep, he is not back there.
Vaughn. Out over the 30 to about the 32.
Anthony Kuvan on that return, and they had taken the big fella out of the game, and this might be one of those situations where you tell him, take the rest of the night off. We're going to need you. We want to win the bronze. If we can't get into the championship game, we want that bronze medal. And we're going to start to save some of our players as well for Saturday's second game of the day.
So France will take on Mexico Saturday, 3:30. Robo. Nice run over the 40. Good enough for a first down.
Those two teams have not met in this tournament. USA will meet Japan. That's going to be a rematch of Sunday, July 12th's contest, where the USA won 43-18.
Perez Madison. Hands off to Robo, skids to a stop, breaks it outside. He is into U.S. territory, but we do have a penalty marker down.
Personal foul. Top block. Offense. 64 and 72. 50-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Again, a nice gain negated by a penalty by France.
Yeah, a bit of frustration coming out of France. You could expect that. They came into this game with high hopes, dominating their first two games, and then running into an outstanding USA team that was out to maybe make a point after some of the critics were kind of talking about their sluggish starts in games 1 and 2.
That ball's tipped and incomplete. Kavan was the intended receiver. Ball whistled right past Slater, who was the closest defender to the ball.
Perez Madison's going to be a tired individual. Quarterback for France, taking a lot of hits today, been sacked, running back and forth to get the plays from the sideline. I'm not sure he had the expectation of playing this many minutes in this contest.
He will go back to the air. Swings it out to the 35-yard line. That's Brice Marcy.
You can see why Perez Madison is still playing at his advanced age of 41. He throws a nice football. I mean, he really does. He spins it well.
Clock running as we approach 4 minutes. 3rd down, 15. Madison feels the pressure, rolls, will get a holding penalty and a sack.
At this point, you want to decline that penalty. You can see he had a hold of the jersey. They're doing anything trying to protect their quarterback. This down defensive line has been very impressive. Alec May again applying the pressure out of Georgetown University.
Holding. Penalty is declined.
They're going to decline the penalty, take the down, take the play. Again, almost immediately you can see that the pocket collapses. Alec May is just relentless. He's determined to get another sack. They're grabbing his jersey, trying to do anything they can to keep him off the quarterback.
Here's the punt, and it will roll. Erickson will let it go. It's down at the 26-yard line. Time now for our huddle key play of the game. 49-yard bomb from Kevin Burke to Trent Steelman back when the sun was shining here at Tom Benson Stadium.
Oh, that was an impressive play. Kevin Burke put so much air under that and just allowed the speedy Steelman to run underneath it. And the former player for Army did not disappoint. Boy, he's had a great tournament. He had 81 yards on 7 catches against Japan in the 43-18 victory. a few days ago.
Lair Satterfield Rowe gets the call.
Again, priority for USA right now, stay in bounds on your running plays. Stay in the huddle as long as you can.
You can hear the near sideline yelling, stay in bounds.
Yeah, they'll restart it. They are restarting the clock on the running play. If a
gain of 1 yard, and that doesn't matter as much as running some time off the clock for the U.S.
This is called clock management, but in a different sort of way.
Satterfield Rowe. An opportunity to run a little bit more time off. That sets up 3rd down and 1. Clock winds down to 2 minutes. Third down 1. Penalty markers are down. The MVP for France, defensive back Arnaud Vidaler. The United States, Aaron Wembley, running back.
USA!
Got that right.
Enjoying some.
Oh, a big game for Aaron Wimberly.
Hey, who's BJ? God is good. God is good. All the time. All the time.
And all the time, God is good. God is good.
A 3rd down and 6 call. 9 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown for Wimberly. You could have selected any number of U.S. players for that honor.
Steelman 2 touchdowns. Ernst Brun with 2 touchdowns.
Satterfield Rowe keeps the clock rolling. Under 1 minute to go.
Any one of the defensive linemen, Jeff, in here. A great performance by them today. Linebacking core, Derek Webb, nice job. Couple of interceptions for T.L. Edwards. Plenty of MVPs to go around on this United States team.
So Saturday, France, a 3:30 matchup with Mexico. That is the bronze medal game. First game here will be at noon. It will be Australia against South Korea. That's the 5th place game. And then the bronze medal game kicks at 3:30. The gold medal game, a rematch. Japan versus the United States at 7 p.m. We'll have them all right here for you on Big Time Sports. A timeout called with 4 seconds remaining. And again, you're joining us late. The United States will have to go without starting linebacker B.J. Beatty, who was disqualified
for targeting.
A helmet-to-helmet contact situation, and rules say you must sit out the next game, which unfortunately for Beatty is the gold medal game here Saturday.
It's unfortunate.
So 4 seconds remaining. 4th down and 3. And David Guthrie is standing in punt formation. He is listed as a linebacker from New Mexico. Digs out the snap and hammers a punt. That is some punt. A fair catch is made at the 18-yard line. Clock reads all zeros, and I believe the issue has been settled.
It may have been settled in the first 12 minutes.
To shake hands. The United States has an opportunity for gold on Saturday against Japan. The final, United States 82, France, nothing. For Tom Linder, Jeff Shreve saying so long from Canton, Ohio. We will talk to you Saturday, the final day of action from the World Championships.